It's the Mindstate Marketing Hour with our favorite man. Guess what his name is? It's Will Leach. Will, how are you, brother?
I am doing great, Steve. How are you today?
I'm just learning all this new technology. I think it's just the way it is from now on. You remember when you used to go fill up with gas and all the gas pumps were the same?
Of course, yeah.
And then they started having all these different kinds of gas pumps. So it's like every time you got out, you had to take an extra minute to figure out how does this one work? Well, that's our lives now. It's like every time we log into the software, how does it work today, right?
Yep, and everybody thinks their platform is the most intuitive, easy to know. And unfortunately, everybody's is different, which makes none of them intuitive and easy to know. But that's another topic for another day, my friend.
So it's the Mindstate Marketing Hour with Will Leach. Will is our expert now. Will has a book, okay? It's called Marketing Mind States. Now, I'm going to get in trouble here because his new book that Will sent me, that's his new book. This is what it used to look like.
Yep.
Okay. The new one's at my office. We took some photos yesterday.
Oh,
and
all right, good.
There.
Well, this is it, everybody. The new book. If you're not familiar with it, this is the new edition of Marketing to Mind States. New information, clearer language, and just overall better design. I know some people don't like the hands. I think the hands are great. The hands are the magician, and we want to make you a magician with your company. And we can do that using applied behavioral psychology.
Gotta hand it to you. That's a great looking book. I think from now on, Will, you need to wear white gloves during these live streams.
First of all, I did not, or your notice about, I got to hand it to you. That did not go unnoticed. I heard it. I love it. That's great. And secondly, I don't know if that's on my brand, but I do like this idea of white glove service for my customers as they're going through their shopper journey. And today, that was a really bad transition.
No,
we're about shopper journeys and how to give your clients the white glove treatment, similar to the white gloves on Marketing to Mind States.
That's what a great segue. So
we're getting
just
better.
Want to know, all you folks that are listening, that Will's book is an excellent book. Now we have all these conversations and it's great. His book is deep and it touches on many places. And, if you haven't read his book yet, then you're one of the few. I encourage you to go out there and get it and read it. But Will's book really, really made an impact on me when I read it, because I'd always designed marketing as maybe a one size fits all for my demographic. Okay. And even though we have, it's a woman and she's 35 years old and a mother and and we design marketing material that resonates with that person. The problem is they go through different states of mind during the day. Okay. They may have had a great conversation with their kids. They may have had a frustrating conversation with the kids. You're in all these different states of mind, but we generally tee up in a certain state of mind when we're evaluating a solution. Mm-hmm. And if we can know and understand that, then we would design our marketing to resonate better with that state of mind of our demographic.
That's right. Thank you. Very well said. You're getting much better every week. I got to hire you to do my copy because you did a great job of it. That's exactly right. So if you don't understand the mind state of your customer when they're making key decisions or interacting with your business, you're always going to be slightly disadvantaged. And today, in today's discussion around shopper journeys, we're going to specifically talk about how to change some of your messaging to map back to somebody's state of mind.
So tell me, Will, why did you pick this topic today? What something happened? I know that you were out and something tweaked your mind, and tell me about it.
Yeah, it usually comes from a question that I hear from one of my clients. And, in today's world, especially after, the massive digitalization of, customers, where all of a sudden they had to start offering products and services online, and then they may have had a retail store or a restaurant. All of a sudden, people started thinking, wait a minute, I don't know anything about how my shoppers understand who I am, how they become aware of me, and how they interact with my business, because all the digital business side and the retail side all just converge. There is no longer, you can't sit there and think, well, I'm going to talk to my digital customers in this way and my retail, personal customers in this way. It doesn't work that way. So my clients are like, hey, all this stuff is merged. And how do we think about the shopper journey? And so there's a lot of conversations across corporate America around understanding shopper journeys. And because of that, I thought, you know what? We don't really talk about shopper journeys a whole lot here. We usually talk about one moment in a shopper's journey. So I want to talk a little bit about breaking up a shopper journey into these moments and how do you optimize so that somebody goes from awareness of your company all the way to after they've used your product, they love your product, they're telling other people about your product as well. So we want to talk about these more holistically in this session.
So, I'm curious. So the shopper's journey, now we're talking about from when they get in the car at their house on the way to shop. Is that what we're talking?
We're not talking like that, but that's a great thought there, Steve. No, in the shopper journey, let's just talk about the shopper journey in easy to understand terms. There is a point where somebody who have never, ever heard of you becomes aware of your company all the way to all the different steps that they interact with you along their shopper journey until they have used your product and they are happy with that product. And hopefully that journey still continues when they come and buy your product again, your service, your program, whatever it is, and tell others about it. So the journey, that could be an hour-long journey, or it could be multiple months of a journey. That's what we want to focus on, because every moment within this journey where people are interacting with your company, there is an opportunity to delight them and there's an opportunity to lose them. And so that's what we need to really understand the entire dynamic of that journey. I'll give you an example here. I once met with the head of insights at Harley Davidson, and a Harley Davidson motorcycle is not a small transaction. And he told me a stat that blew my mind. I'll probably get this a little bit off, so don't quote me here. But he basically said that on the average, a typical first-time Harley Davidson motorcycle buyer will go to the shop or go to the dealership 24 times before they ever buy. Brother, that's a long shopper journey. And remember, every one of those 24 interactions are possibilities to move that person closer to buying a Harley or losing them forever. It can be really long, or they can be truncated within a couple of minutes. You can go through the entire shopper journey.
24 visits to the dealership. But they're online. They're also talking to their buddies who has one. There's all this other aspects of the journey as well that you can control, that you can't control. But that's really fascinating. 24 visits to the delership.
24 visits, yeah, in your first time. I mean, it's well, with Harley Davidson, right? It's such a strong, powerful brand that you want to get the full brand experience. And that means that you got to feel like you belong. So sometimes he says on the first 5 or 6, people just wander. They don't want to talk to a salesperson because they're a little bit nervous. He went through the whole thing. It was really fascinating. Their, total customer experience, so let's just, use that word because we're going to talk about it. That shopper journey is really the entire customer experience. And like you said, you incorporated conversations into that. You're talking to your neighbor. They're doing research. They're reading about you on Reddit. That entire customer experience you need to be aware of and hopefully manage those points in that experience that you control to the best of your ability.
Well, you don't know this about me, but I owned 3 Harleys.
Are you kidding me?
Not at the same time, but sequentially, right?
Does that resonate with you?
Sorry?
First time? Did that resonate with you the first time you ever bought one?
Oh, yeah, because I remember the first time. I remember one day I was filling it with gas, and this guy rode up on a Harley, and he got off, and he started filling it up. And I said to myself, one day I'm going to own one. Okay? That's when it started. And then, so finally one day I get up the guts to go into the dealership. And this is back in the day before they're really optimized now. This was like, I want to say, I'll tell you wrong. Anyway, this is before they started really optimizing their dealerships. But I went in and I didn't want to talk to anybody. I felt uncomfortable. I didn't feel like I belonged there. And they didn't come up and go, hey, how can I help you? They didn't do any of that, right?
That's what he says. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's because you've got to become a part of their tribe. Mm-hmm. And so you're outside of that for a while until you get in there. So do you know what the difference between a Harley Davidson and a vacuum cleaner is?
What's that?
It's the position of the dirt bag. So tell us, is it?
All right, that's awesome, man. Yeah, that's good. All right. So total customer experience. Hey, first off, I love what you just said there, honestly, Steve, because this guy even said that he can tell when somebody enters, like their salespeople know not to approach you too quickly because they lose sales. They can tell when somebody wanders in there and they look that feeling of, I'm just trying to figure out where I fit and where I belong. He said about 5 times it takes before somebody starts coming up and asking questions for the typical average buyer. I'm sure other people are different, but isn't that amazing? Because they built that into their sales understandings. They can tell if you're not ready. They know that you're just sitting there trying to feel the brand and absorb, everything that brand stands for. So it's really cool.
I'll tell you one more story, then I'll let you get on with your program. but so I bought my motorcycle, and the first time I thought, I'm going to add a piece of chrome. So what do? You go into the store and you go up to the counter, the parts counter, and you ask them for that piece of chrome. And this is true story. I go up and I say, hey, I opened up the catalog and I pointed to that catalog to the guy behind the counter. And he looked at it and he goes, you don't want that.
So no.
Why do you want chrome? It was like, oh, now I had to justify why.
My old lady wants me to have some chrome. I don't want to.
Yeah. No, it was like, why did you get a blue Harley? Why didn't you get a black one like everybody else? And the whole thing of that brand is like, we're independent. We're
really
antisocial. But if you better ride a black motorcycle like everybody else. Anyway,
that is
so it's critical.
Yes. So guys, every point of interaction that you have with your brand is an opportunity to move them along the journey from awareness to education, to really trying you out, to buying, to talking to other people. Every one of those points it gives you the ability to provide an experience that gets them to the next stage, or it gives you the ability to screw up and have them leave and they will never come back again. So what you have to do is understand that each one of these moments, we call them trigger points. These moments in your customer experience where people are in an emotional aroused state, a state like when Steve was talking about here about being at the counter and asking for chrome. He was in an emotionally aroused state of mind, and then that experience with the person across the clerk, I guess, across the counter made a great experience or made a not so pleasant experience. Those moments are very critical in you understanding how do you talk to that person, how do you make them feel. And understanding those core moments in time, those trigger points, the core moments when people really move from awareness to purchase to, valuing you as a brand, those are going to be really critical to map and then adjust where required.
So what's our first step here? Well,
first step is you have to do a total experience audit. Now that sounds probably, oh God, an audits are terrible. No, let me tell you what you're going to do here. All I want you to do is think about what is the point where somebody first becomes aware of you, all the way to, and just think about every common interaction they have with you, because those are the ones you can control, until finally somebody buys, and maybe they even contact you with a question, or maybe they have an experience or a problem or something like that. But you have to map those out. Now, do not go through the hassle of trying to figure out, there are many different ways that people can become aware of me, and then they can kind of move from this place to place. Don't do that, guys. All I want you to do is map them out in linear order or longitudinal order, meaning they first become aware of me. What's the next step after they hear about me? Well, maybe they come to my website. Okay, great. What's the next step? Well, I think maybe some people do some background research. They may look for me online. Okay, great. What after that? Well, then they book a call with me. You see where I'm going? Just list those out in kind of chronological or longitudinal order to see step by step all these interactions. You could have as few as 3, and you can have as many as 35. I don't know who or you are or what your business is, but mapping those out and putting them on a piece of paper is critical, because you first have to understand what is out there. And here's a tip for you. Best thing you can do is not do this yourself. It sounds really weird, right? But the tip is have somebody do this for you, because you are aware of how somebody should go through the funnel or go through this experience. So you have a bias to talk about interactions that are there and that you know about. Normal people, they bypass things. They don't know what you want them to do. So actually the good rule of thumb or tip is have somebody else do it for you. How did they become aware of you? And then have them go through the funnel from awareness to buying your product and after that, and then map those out. Nice rule, a tip or a good rule of thumb to make sure that it's truly the customer experience versus what you hoped your customer experience would be.
So when you say trigger points, after we map that out, now we need to look for some areas of opportunity.
That's right, because not every one of those points are critical. So imagine if you have, after you've looked at all these core trigger points, all these moments where people are experiencing, with your company, they go to your website, they get an email from you, whatever. Once those things are mapped out, select the 2 to 3 core ones, the ones that you think to yourself, these are critical that I get correct, because if these fall down, then it's very difficult for me to recover. So for my company, I have probably about 16 different steps that people can take through becoming aware of me all the way to where they're interacting with me on the back end, asking for some customer service, whatever. There are 3 that to me are critical that I really want to focus on first. I get these down right, and then maybe if I have time, I'll start going to other ones. My first one is what I call the Mindstate Messenger. So if you are on my email list, and you've opted in, you get a weekly video, 3 to 5 minute video. That is a critical experience to me because that helps me teach people about how to use Mindstate marketing in their business. Second point of criticality is my program. So I offer programs on my website that allow you to optimize your business. So those are critical experiences that I want to focus on. And then third is customer service. So there are times when we don't manage the expectations, or we don't meet the expectations of our customers, and they call us or they email us. I want that experience to be incredibly empowering and useful and a great experience, so that I can win them back, or that they'll go tell others about how well we handled them. So for me, there are 3 critical trigger point experiences that I focus on and really try to optimize to make sure that we're really meeting that, that total customer experience that will delight our shoppers.
So after we identify those, now we need to motivate them.
Right. So from my book, Marketing in Mind States, that there is this desire. What we have to do is create emotional fuel to get people to take action, because we just can't rely on our customers to take action, because they don't, right? The world's complex. So it's critical to understand the core motivation that's driving people to act for your entire business, So for me, I'm a entrepreneur that is focused on helping business owners optimize their messaging and their business strategy to maximize revenues, right? So I'm trying to help businesses grow. The motivation that I use, one of the 9 that I teach you in my book, Marketing in Mind States, is called empowerment. And empowerment is to feel empowered, authorized, and equipped to act. So what I do with my company is I want my customers to feel that when they work with me, they are going to be given more control over their business, and they're going to be given more abilities and equipment to make sure that they can maximize the potential of their business. So I'm focused on empowerment. There are 9 total. There are other motivations like achievement, which is a desire for success. And I know you've been focused a lot on success, right? There's other ones called engagement, which is about captivating people. So what you have to do is identify one of the 9 core motivations that are in the book, Marketing to Mind States, and then make sure that your total consumer experience is aligned to that motivation. So for instance, mine is empowerment. So my Mindstate Messenger, my weekly email that goes out, that is always structured to help provide greater control to people who are of their business, control over their business, to people who watch that video. So I give tips, I give tricks, I give advice on how to gain greater control over your business. On my program is all about enabling you as a business owner to optimize your company in a way that will grow your sales by controlling the experiences so they match to your customers' expectations and their motivations. Again, I use control and empowerment. So I build these into those core trigger points to make sure that when you walk away from that, in your mind, you're thinking, Mindstate Group or Will, he gives me greater control over my business. And that's what I want you to walk away with.
And that's what really made the light bulb go off for me, is that now if we know this, we're going to design our marketing messaging, the text on our website, our emails, our newsletter. It's going to make sure that it's taking and honoring, hey, this message is helping them see that they can have more control over what they want to achieve.
Yep. And imagine, Steve, what that means to your customer. You're not trying to sell your customer that I have the best vitamins and my vitamins come from all natural places. Like everybody anywhere can create a vitamin company, a supplement company. They can. That's not what you're marketing against. You're marketing the ability to control your health. And there's not a lot of companies that market in that way that are saying, oh, if you buy from me, you're going to gain greater control over your health. Does that make sense? So the reason why you use motivations and these mind states is that it elevates your marketing to a more emotional place. And the more emotional place is the place where people go and buy. It differentiates you from everyone else because, and you and I say this all the time, it makes you human. And being human is the number one point of competitive advantage you have in today's world. So using these mind states and integrating those into your customer experience just elevates how you feel to your customers. And those feelings equate to more sales.
So would you say that if I'm considering vitamins, I want to be more in control of my health, am I approaching it from an optimistic or a cautious?
Yep. It depends. In the way you framed it, you were thinking about, I want to gain more control over my health. That's what's called the optimistic frame. So you're seeking greater control over your health. There are other people that go, no, I want to seek less variability in my health or less risk. That would be called the cautious empowerment mind state. So it depends on how your customers think. But if they want more good things, they want more health, they will seek optimistic types of language. If they want less bad health, I want to avoid cancer, I want to avoid, having energy lulls, that would be more cautious. And your messaging should reflect their natural approach. Yet another topic in marketing to mind states. It's chapter 7, where we talk about how to frame your messaging in a way that feels intuitive.
See, even those as chapters. That's awesome.
Yep.
Step 4, integrate.
Right. So you've mapped out this one motivation for your business. And you're thinking, just like I said, I use empowerment. I desire control, or I want to give control to people who are trying to run their business. So at those key trigger points, like I said before, in my Mindstate Messenger, my weekly email that goes out to thousands of people, I have a video, and almost always in those videos, I am trying to I'm giving you information for you to take control over your business. It's in my messaging. It's in the very last line that you'll see on our last slide, in fact, because I want you to walk away after reading that messenger saying, man, Will just gave me greater control over my business. That's what I want to differentiate my company against all the other companies that try to do what I do. Same thing I do with my programs. I could do a program. I could build a business where I could do the work for you, but that's not what I want to do. I want my customers and my clients to feel enabled and empowered to do it for themselves. So I teach them Mindstate marketing and how to apply it to the customer insights, their programs, their customer experience, etc. So when you walk away from my program, I want you to feel like you are totally enabled to take control over your business. So you got to integrate those types of mechanisms, mostly in the marketing, but also in the design of the products themselves. And we've talked about how you design products around each of these. So if you go back to some of our early conversations, you can learn how to design experiences and products in a way that fit one of these core motivations. So we won't go into that now, but just realize that it's not just messaging, but it's also how people interact with you. How much control do you give them over their own experience working with you? Gives them the feeling that you are enabling them to run their business in the way they want to run it. And that, again, will differentiate you versus all the other businesses out there.
All right. So if we're going to customize this, what's the best way to approach it?
So remember, we said that we want to focus on one motivation across the entire customer experience. And that is a good rule of thumb. However, just like we said earlier, you're not always, thinking about control and empowerment. You have different states of mind based upon what you're looking for out of an experience. So let's go through. Remember, I have 3 critical trigger points I'm focused on: my Mindstate Messenger, my program, and customer service. So imagine on the back end of my program that you can't download a video, or your password doesn't work, et cetera, and you're frustrated. At that point, you don't feel like you're in control. What you're really looking for is a different motivation. You're motivated by achievement. And that's one of the 9 motivations that are in my book, Marketing Mind States. Now, achievement is all about overcoming a challenge. If you are calling me, chances are you have a challenge of some sorts. And so for me to enable you and empower you, that is not the correct motivation. You desire to overcome a barrier so you can get successfully back onto your day. So for my customer care, I don't try to create an experience around control. I focus on achievement. Here's a couple things that I do. And you can integrate these same things into this experience, into this touch point. So you will know that if you were to call me, I'm going to talk in my script, I'm going to talk about how important your success is to me. Why? Because success, that word success, allows me to make sure to have you feel like, hey, you get me. You know that my success is important. So I will use words that convey that I understand the experience you're going through. So I'll use terms like, I know your success is important. I will give you a fast speed of resolution, right? Why? Speed is important to somebody who wants to overcome a barrier and they're driven by achievement. I will even do things like untapped opportunities. Like I will make you aware of things that you weren't even aware of before and how we can come to a better resolution. Why? Because somebody who desires success wants to feel like there are untapped possibilities that can help them overcome the stress and maybe even anger they have with interacting with me. We will modify our language dramatically, and even how I try to find a solution, whether it's trying to figure out your password or a credit card that was declined. I want to resolve that as fast as I can. So I use totally different messaging as well as cues to help you feel like you're a success as fast as I can. If I do that, you're going to feel that critical moment that you were understood. And in customer service, isn't that the case? That what you want to do? You just want to feel understood. And so, the thing I would tell you is that, a lot of times in customer service, people will blame, like the customer service rep will maybe blame. You go, oh, please, things are going, they're a madhouse right now. Here's our situation. Here's why we couldn't deliver. If somebody desires success, they actually have lower levels of empathy for others. It's just in that moment in time, they care about themselves. So for me to encourage, somebody in customer sales or in the customer experience team to talk about, here's the reason why we failed, that actually doesn't work so well as someone who just desires for you to resolve the situation. So we don't do that. We just talk about how we're going to make you successful, how we're going to overcome this barrier as fast as we can and get you an unrealized opportunity so you can move along with your day.
So I was thinking, what mind state would someone be in when they're thinking about buying a Harley?
I believe that different spaces, I think it's belonging. The belonging and motivation is about feeling aligned, accepted, and connected with others. I think that brand, not necessarily the motorcycle, but that brand itself is so powerful that people buy Harleys so they can feel like I'm a part of this Harley Davidson tribe. Like you said, I believe Harley is really driven by that desire to know that I'm a badass or to feel like I'm a badass. And there's a brotherhood, a brethren. That's why Harley Davidson riders ride together, and you don't see a lot of Kawasaki's next to Harley Davidson riders. You just don't see it. So I think it's belonging, actually.
That's excellent. So what you think they're in, a cautious or achievement?
I personally believe it's cautious. I believe, especially early on, that they want to make sure that they don't do anything stupid that could cause them, like you did, trying to buy chrome on the blue Harley Davidson. They're trying to avoid that feeling of not being a part of the bigger group. And so my guess is they are looking, I was like, oh, there's a leather jacket. I'm going to buy that leather jacket too. Now it's probably different as people experience that brand for many, many years and, decades or whatever. My guess is it becomes more optimistic, meaning they want more Harley Davidson gear. They want to feel more connected. But I think at first it's probably very cautious. Just don't make me look stupid. When I get on the Harley and then I fall over, I just don't let that happen to me. They're probably very cautious, especially for the amount of money you pay.
Yeah, I would agree. That made me laugh. Think about Harley made that catalog, put that chrome in there. There's the pricing. They convince you to buy it. And then you go up to the counter and the guy says, why do you want chrome?
I know. I mean, the guy down there, he told me to come on and check. I think it's a stupid idea. Yeah.
And here I am, like, having to be defensive and justify why I want a piece of chrome. That was so funny.
I love it.
Okay, so here's questions. It's our favorite time. So
Let's
by
go.
the way, if you've been listening to this, we've been learning from Will Leach. He's the author of Marketing to Mind States, and you need to get his book. And it looked like this, but now it looks like. Show us, Will. What's it look like now?
Dun, dun, dun. Look for the hands.
So, and then to learn more, you would want to go to mindstategroup.com.
Right.
So, yes. So anyway, now, all right, now we've got some questions that folks
Good
have
question.
been sending in. So here's our first one. You ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
All right. How can behavioral science be applied to improve customer experiences with call centers?
With call centers specifically, here's what I would tell you. I think it comes into two ways. First is if somebody calls a call center, you can use behavioral science to really understand not just the issue that they have, but the core motivations that are driving them to call you in the first place. And so you can actually use behavioral science to identify the core mind state that they're under and how to then create that experience and that conversation that's going to alleviate that stress, because nobody likes to call centers. So the first thing I think behavioral sciences can do is help you understand and empathize with that person. But then secondly, technology now allows you to, if I identify that core motivation that somebody has and that frustration of why they're trying to call me, I can actually create scripts that are specifically tailored to lower that stress. So behavioral science can use an understanding, but as even more importantly, is providing that great customer experience that they will actually, highly rate you in satisfaction research.
Yeah, I would imagine if you managed a call center, then you could also design a management program to help your telephone folks to be more relaxed and approach their job in a certain state of mind.
Yeah, and it's not just, Steve, it's not just let's just be nicer. That's not what everyone always wants. It's not about what you think. It's about understanding that person who calls in and understanding what specifically they need to hear to lower that kind of anxiety and that frustration down. And that's science. That's training. It's not just being nice to everybody, because that's not really the best way to conduct yourself when somebody's frustrated.
All right. Do you have market research or consumer behavior PDFs you can share?
Yes. Yeah. You should go to mindstategroup.com/resources. So over the past couple of years, I put a lot of different free resources on the website. So what you can do is there are papers there that are written by other people that I think are just fascinating papers. I have a worksheet that tells you the top behavioral science books to read in order. And surprisingly, Marketing to Mind States is not the #1 book you should be reading. But there are other podcasts that I tell you should be listening to, blogs you should be reading. And I also have some free downloads around things like a tactical blueprint that you can use to modify your messaging right now. So there are all sorts of different marketing research and consumer behavior types of PDFs that are on mindstategroup.com.
All right, this next question, this is a good one. It's like, so how is artificial intelligence being used in marketing? How can technology help me be more human?
Yeah. So, this is interesting. Artificial intelligence, if you don't know, it is taking over many, many different environments and industries. Why? Because artificial intelligence is an efficient way of learning more about a common situation and developing solutions. So AI, I'm not going to go into what AI is. I will tell you how artificial intelligence is being used in marketing. First off, if you didn't know this or not, a lot of copy, even the news articles you read, are being generated by computers. It's not people behind the scenes. It's being generated by computers. So if you're in marketing, a lot of your copy can be integrated or can be developed using AI. So can the editing of your copy. So you can take copy, run it through artificial intelligence, and not only will it edit it for grammar, but it'll actually edit it down to different age groups. So if you want to talk to different types of age groups or even different types of ethnographic groups, you can actually have artificial intelligence rewrite copy so that it better fits with their education level, et cetera. It's being used for SEO, so it's optimizations for search engine. It's being used for ad buys. Artificial intelligence is generally buying your ads and placement of those ads on any different social media site that you're trying to place ads on. It's being used in marketing research. We use it in our marketing research to identify the core motivations that are driving our customers or our clients' customers. So it's being used not only in insights and understanding of people, but also on the tactical development of solutions. It's pervasive and it's only going to grow.
Excellent. Well, it's another great show, Will. So you thinking about a Harley?
I am I am not. I feel like I have a brotherhood right here, Steve. I don't feel like I need to. There's no reason why I need to go. And if you knew me, though I know the bald head, I probably fit some of the stereotypes of a Harley Davidson rider. But I'm a lover. I'm a fighter. I'm okay without a Harley Davidson. My brother has a Harley, or he did have a Harley. So I love the brand. That is for sure. But I do not believe I'll do that. But then again, I still have time for my midlife crisis. So who knows what I'll do back, when that hits me.
So did you know that here's something I learned riding Harley Davidsons, that a grasshopper tastes the same in Texas as it does in Maine.
Man, and you know what? How else, besides, being a part of the tribe of Harley Davidson, would you have ever had that put in your life? So, hey, congratulations, man. That's great.
It's not I stopped and picked up a grasshopper and tried it. It's like they end up in all these, they hit you while you're driving, going down the road. And sometimes you get to taste test these.
Yet another good reason to join the Harley Davidson tribe. Hey, I love it. Hey, God bless you. That's awesome. I did not know you rode Harley. Do you still ride Harleys now?
No, I hung up my chaps.
Did you? All right.
Yeah.
That is another story you'll have to tell us some other time, it sounds like, on why you made that decision. That's a big decision.
I started a marketing agency and I didn't have time to ride around all the time.
That's not as exciting a story as I thought. But I thought it was like, it was after you wrecked it or something like that. No. So my dad wrecked his and he got off the Harleys. He's done after he wrecked his. He's like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah, I quit before that. So it's another great episode of the Mindstate Marketing Hour. You can learn more at the mindstategroup.com. Be sure to go and get Will's book. You will love it. It's a great book. And a lot of people, when they read that book, they reach out. He's got big clients. He's got small clients. So I encourage you to do that. And stay tuned. We'll be back next week at the same time. And we'll cover some more questions. Be sure to submit your questions at the mindstategroup.com. Will, any last words?
None at all. Been great sharing this time with you. Focus on your total customer experience and you'll be able to drive long-term growth, guys.
There you go. So we'll see you guys next week. And that's a wrap.